Welcome to a KNAUER HPLC Columns tutorial. In this video, we want to talk about replacing a competitor's HPLC column with a KNAUER column. Therefore, KNAUER has a tool implemented for you. It is called the KNAUER Column Replacement List, and it can be found on our website, for example. So every information that you would need to replace a column from a competitor is, of course, the manufacturer, for example, Agilent or Phenomenex, the brand name, what would be, for example, Thorbucks or Luna, the modification, for example, C18 or ODS or RP8, and the particle size, for example, 5 micrometer, 3 micrometers, and also the column dimension, of course, the length and the inner diameter that is needed for this column. If you have all this information, you can replace a column if there is a corresponding one in the KNAUER portfolio. Please always remember, I hope you are already familiar with the other KNAUER column tutorials where I explained that one column is never 100% like another column. So there is the possibility to replace columns, but be sure that it won't be exactly the same characteristics that you will find in a KNAUER column than in a competitor's column. If you don't know what I mean right now, please be invited to watch again our videos on, for example, reversed phase columns. There we spend a lot of time explaining why one column is not like another one. Okay, but now I want to show you where you can find this replacement list, what it contains, and how to work with it. First of all, let's have a look where you can find the KNAUER column replacement list. So you go to the KNAUER homepage, knauer.net, and then you will have to go to the partners area. You can find the link here directly. You can just click on it, and then you have to log in using your partner's account. If you don't already have an account, you can create one via clicking here. After you logged in, you are directly in the KNAUER Partners area, and here we save all our documents that are not for every end customer needed, but sometimes also a little bit confidential, so you need the login to get them. For the KNAUER column replacement list, you will have to get here to the sales area because it is a sales document. And then you can scroll down and you will find our LC column information. If you open the page now, you directly get here the KNAUER column replacement list as an Excel sheet. And you can click on the download button and it will directly download to your bar down here, and then you can open it. And now you have this Excel sheet, and we saved it as an Excel sheet because we wanted to make it easier for you so you can use all the search functions you know from Excel. So yeah, I just wanted to shortly explain how I use it and how I would recommend to use it and what is in here. So remember what I told you, you have to know the company name, so the manufacturer of the column you want to replace, and this is in column A. So for example, here Agilent, very well known. All Agilent columns are listed here. It's now sorted alphabetically. If you want to have it in another way, you can just sort it here and search for a brand here, just as you know from Excel. In column B, there is the requested sorbent. So it's the brand name of the material. When we stick with Agilent, for example, it's Thorbucks. Everybody knows it, I think. And also the modification is written here. So this would be the full name, how a material is typically described. So you already see, if you don't know the manufacturer Agilent, but you know the material Thorbucks, you will here also get to your goal because you will find the material. Of course, it is easier if you know both, but in this case, you will also find it just via the brand name. And the next you will have, in the column C, you will have the USP listing. So there is a USP L code for a lot of different columns. We listed it here just to make it easier for you to understand what it is. And then there are the very important columns D to F, where we have the physical properties of the described material here. So, for example, the Agilent Sorbax C8 has a pore size of 70 angstroms, a surface area of 300, and a carbon load of 12%. And therewith you see this is a very special material because this pore size is not very common. And this leads to the next column where it says no alternative. In column G, we write our KNAUER alternative material if we have one that is really, really close to the one listed here in columns A and B. So you can also read it here, a recommended replacement. And as a short explanation here, this column is a replacement. Existing methods can be used without many adaptations. That means maybe you have to adapt methods a little bit because, remember, not one column is like another. And even if we tested exactly this column, for example, where we have a good replacement, so this column here, if we tested this against our column, we could never cover any application that you might run. And for example, with the applications that we tried, it perfectly replaced the competitor's column, but you maybe have an application where it does not fit. So always remember, this is not a 100% replacement, but if you find a material in column G, it is a very close column. But what about here, our Sorbax material, where we don't have a replacement? So here it says in column G, no replacement. Then you can go to column I and have a look here. So sometimes, and also for the Sorbax, it's the case that there is an alternative column. So if you find one column here, then the column can, under method adaptations, be an alternative but not a replacement. So if you find a column here, in a lot of cases it will work as an alternative for your customer, but it is not as close as the one that we would give you here. So this is just from our experience where you can have a replacement. We wrote here an alternative column. If you have a customer that is really satisfied with his column and just is not able to get it anymore or something, I would not recommend to use a column that is only listed here and not here. What I didn't tell you now is columns H and J. So H corresponds to G. So if you find here a KNAUER column as a replacement, here would be the material code. And this means that is our order number. The first places are always missing because the first places code for the column dimension. And we here just give you an alternative for the material. So the next step would be to figure out the dimension of your column. The easiest way, if you find something here, would be to write down this material and go back to our homepage to the column configurator. There is another video where I explain how to use that. This is really easy. The hard part of the game is to get the alternative material. Okay, now maybe we have just an example column. For example, if you want to replace a thermo hyperseal gold column or something, then you can go just with the Excel search function, or you can go with a search here. So I would always recommend to use the search that is implemented in Excel. So I can search for hyperseal, for example, if I know that. And then I search for it, and here I get it. So it directly jumps to the thermo company. And here, hyperseal ODS is a material with a USP listing L1, physical characteristics written here. And the recommended replacement is also written here. So you find a very good replacement and you can use this one instead of the hyperseal column, for example. So this is how I use it. Of course, you can also go via the requested sorbent name and here make a filter for hyperseal, for example, and then you get all columns that have hyperseal in the name, and then you will find your one here. And here you also see why it is not also important not only to know the brand name, but also the correct and full name of the modification. Because, for example, here existing an ODS and an ODS2 column. So if somebody comes to me and says he wants a replacement for a hyperseal C18, then I don't know, is this one or this one? So you would really need the name because there are two completely different replacement columns for that. And you see also different characteristics. Okay, then you can put the filter away again and get any column. Yeah, this is how I would use the column replacement list. If you have a material that is not listed here, and we have a lot of materials listed here, so if you scroll down, we have already about 1,760 columns in this list. If it is not listed here, yeah, you can try, write us an email and we can try to find an alternative column. So this replacement list is also growing. So whenever I get a question for a material to replace it and it's not in this list, I go searching for a replacement and I will put it inside the list. And every few months, we also update the list in the internet. So on the KNAUER partners area. So maybe after some months, you might go back there if you saved your copy and look if there's a new version. So yeah, this is recommended. Okay, I hope now you get an idea of when to replace a column and how to do it on your own. So I think working with this Excel sheet is very easy. And yeah, I hope you would like to use it.